Hey everyone, this is my first Camtasia video trying to explain the phases of the moon for my 8th grade class. And well, let's get started. Hopefully at the end of it you'll understand why we see the moon in the sky the way that we do. So I'm sure that you're familiar with the different moon phases, or at least when you look up in the sky you see the moon in different shapes and different sizes, and it all depends on the angle that we see the moon. The position of the sun, the position of the earth, but more importantly the position of the moon and where we are looking at the moon from. So if we look at the next slide, we see a diagram. On the right you see arrows representing sunlight, so the sun is off to the right in the diagram, and the earth, being a sphere, has half of it lit up because of the sun. And here's the orbit of the moon. And the orbit of the moon, and of course, is a sphere again, and just like the earth, half of it will be in light and the other half will be in shadow. Now the way we see the moon all has to do with our perspective from Earth. So if we're on Earth looking at the moon from here, looking at the moon in this position, you can see that what we would see is only the dark side. In other words, the side of the moon that is not lit up. So from here we would look and only see the moon only in shadow. It would not be lit up. So what we would visually see would be something like that, where we know the moon's there, we bring it out to the front, and we really don't see it. Alright, later on in the month, as the moon goes in its rotation, and we are on Earth again here, of course, but now we're looking at the moon, and the moon is over in this position. We're more able to see a part of the moon that's lit up. We see where the moon is lit up on the right side, shadow is still on the left. So what we would see when we look up in the sky would be something like that. And so as the moon continues to travel around the Earth and it gets to this position, our perspective from Earth, looking from here to the left, we would see the lit up side of the moon. And I hope you can visualize it so that you understand that from here we would see the entire lit side of the moon, and what we would actually see is what we call a full moon. We would see the entire side that is lit by the sun. And then here's the tricky one right here, where here's our perspective, and it's as if because we're in a two-dimensional plane here on the computer screen, that it's a little bit hard to understand, a little bit hard to visualize. So from here we're looking out, just as if you're looking into the mirror and the mirror image is looking back out toward you. Given that and the moon was in between, what we would actually see is not this image. We would see it opposite because we're looking this way. So imagine yourself, turned around facing from behind the screen and not at your position in front of the screen. You would actually see the shadow not on the left, but on the right. So you would see something more like that. Alright, let's put this back. So your vision, or our view of the moon, would be more like that, because we are on the Earth facing this moon looking out. I hope that's clear to you. I know it's a little bit confusing. Think about it, go through the video a couple times. Hopefully you can visualize it. And then of course everything has a name. So here again, the same diagram, coming here, looking at the shadow side of the moon, we would see something like this. Alright, and that they've decided to call that a new moon. And then as it goes around, and if you think about this as a full turn, this is 1/4 of the turn, and we would see something like, yeah, we would see something like this, and it's the first quarter. And logically, it's the first quarter of the whole revolution of the moon. As it comes over to this side, we see a full moon. Oddly enough, it's not called second quarter or half the moon. It's called the full moon because we see the entire circle. And then here, again, this would be 3/4 of the way around the entire cycle, and so that is called a 3/4 moon. Alright, now, the tricky part here, though, is, and I would get this question, I'm sure some of you are thinking about it right now, from here to this moon, with the sun being over on the right someplace, isn't this an eclipse? Or the moon being here, the earth in the middle, and the sun, isn't that an eclipse? And if they were lined up perfectly, then yes, it would be an eclipse. But the next video talks about eclipses, and hopefully can explain to you why eclipses are so rare, and how the distance from the earth and the moon is such that it's pretty rare to have sun, moon, and earth to be perfectly lined up. So I hope you understood it. If you don't, see me in class. Maybe I can help you again. And hope you enjoy the next video.